New York cops tonight looking for that gunman who was wearing a ski mask when he shot the business executive in front of the Hilton Hotel on 54th Street. This was shortly before 7 this morning.
The victim, 50-year-old Brian Thompson.
I do believe in the sanctity of life, and I think that's why I felt, along with so many other Americans, joy, unfortunately, because it feels like...
Serious?
I mean...
Joy in a man's execution?
No, they have like no empathy almost. It's like you thought the nerds had no empathy and compassion because they were bullied. No, it's like the chicken and the egg. Well, now we know. We know.
Maybe not joy, but certainly not empathy. Because again,
you need to kind of bully the nerds in school so they don't get this mentality where I can do whatever I want and there's no jock that's going to shove me in the locker. It seriously comes down to those simplistic terms. All right, guys, welcome to the channel, America's Reality 360. We got another good one today. Now, I'll be honest, I didn't even plan on making this video, but after what I just watched, I couldn't help it because it totally solidifies something I said in my video yesterday. And if you haven't watched that yet, go check it out, please. It's the Hawk Tua video. But what I said was, I was talking about the theater kids and the nerds and how they're getting out of control and steamrolling over the rest of us. And it's right. And you're going to see it right here. This is one of the theater kids. And what I said specifically was in Washington, D.C. and Hollywood, it's made up of all like the theater kids, the drama kids that when you were in high school, they were dressing up in funny costumes and sitting in the powder room getting like makeup on their face, and then they go out and read their scripted lines and pretend to be something they're not, and they still do it to this day. And then you have the nerds that are like in the sciences and pharmaceuticals and the tech industries, and what's going on more recently is they've joined forces against the rest of us, the jocks, the cool kids, the rednecks, a bunch of people in between, right? The preppies. But yeah, they have totally steamrolled over us, and because of our compassion, we've let them. And the point I'm trying to make is they think differently. They lack empathy and compassion. And I know people think I'm crazy when I say this stuff, but newsflash, we're not all the same. There are categories of people, and you can kind of make certain judgments based on those types of things and repeating, similarities that we've seen over time and all that kind of stuff. But basically, it's common sense, right? And I'm going to show you someone who's just waking up to this kind of stuff is Piers Morgan, right? He's like another Bill Maher type guy who was on the left and was a Democrat his whole life. And now he's starting to realize, wow, the people in my party, the people that I thought I agreed with are actually crazy. And the more guests he brings on, like Taylor Lorenz here, the more he witnesses it, and he's had his fill today. And just in case you don't know exactly what's going on here, the CEO of United Healthcare was walking down the sidewalk in New York City the other day, and somebody came up behind him and took him out. Masked individual, seemed like a professional job. There's a lot more going on with that in the news if you want to look into it. But here we're going to talk about Taylor Lorenz, old reporter from Washington, D.C., who's trying to do like podcasts and stay relevant now. She says, and people wonder why we want these executives done. So Pierce is going to have her on, and you got to see this. It's great. Cheers to Piers Morgan. All right, roll it.
This issue of Brian Thompson, one of the top healthcare executives in the country, I'm just curious why your first reaction would be to his cold-blooded execution. And people wonder why we want these executives dead. And then you later commented when people were giving you a lot of blowback, I'm not alone, you said. Healthcare executive down with party balloons was on an post that you commented on. Why would you be in such a celebratory mood about the execution of another human being? Aren't you supposed to be on the caring, sharing left where, you believe in the sanctity of life?
I do believe in the sanctity of life, and I think that's why I felt, along with so many other Americans, joy, unfortunately, because it feels like...
Serious?
I mean...
Joy in a man's execution?
Maybe not joy, but certainly not empathy. Because again...
We're watching the footage. How can this make you joyful? This guy's a husband, he's a father, and he's being gunned down in the middle of Manhattan. Why does that make you joyful?
Thousands of Americans that being murdered. So are the tens of thousands of Americans, innocent Americans, who died because greedy health insurance executives like this one push a policies of denying care to the most vulnerable people. And the many millions of Americans that have watched people that I care about suffer and in some cases die because of lack of health
So
care.
should they all be killed then? Should they all be killed, these healthcare executives? Would that make you even more joyful?
No, that would not.
Well, why not?
And,
why are you laughing?
I think because it wouldn't fix the
You seem
system.
to find the whole thing
system-
hilarious.
I find your question
A
funny.
bloke's been murdered in the street. I don't find it funny at all.
I don't find it funny that tens of thousands of Americans die every year and because they are denied life-saving healthcare from people like the CEO. Now, I want to fix the system. You're right. We shouldn't be going around shooting each other with vigilante justice. No. I think that it is a good thing that this murder has led to America, or really the media elites and politicians in this country paying attention to this issue for the first time. You mentioned you couldn't understand why somebody would feel this reaction when they watched a CEO die. It's because you have not dealt, it sounds like, with the American healthcare system in the way that millions of other Americans have.
I've dealt with the healthcare system in various ways in America. I don't think it's perfect by any means, but the idea that I would view it as something...
Have you been denied life-saving treatment?
The idea that I would view it as something joyful that a man has been, who's just a healthcare executive, has been executed in the street, I find completely bizarre. Let me bring in Tommy here. Yeah. Tommy, I keep being told... Hang on, Taylor, I'll come back to you.
Okay,
Tommy,
don't say I'm joyful. I said
you said you were feeling joyful.
Yeah, I take that back. Joyful is the wrong word, Piers.
You think?
But I said, as I clarified,
you think?
Yeah.
You think joyful is the wrong word? Yeah.
Sure,
I'd say it is.
Vindicated, celebratory, because again, it feels like justice in this system when somebody responsible for the deaths of tens of thousands of Americans suffers the same fate as those tens of thousands of Americans who he murdered or
Tommy, whether Taylor wants to retract the word joyful or not, we all heard her say it, and I was just shocked. I mean, I find that kind of response utterly shocking.
All right, I just got to jump in real quick, and then we're going to get to the best part. Hang in there. Trust me, it's worth it. But I had to say this. You keep hearing this girl make excuses. Oh, they're responsible for millions of lives, the healthcare system. And, you never lost anyone due to healthcare, obviously, so that's why you don't want this guy dead. And it's like, that's not a good excuse. Anybody with half a brain knows that. But I'll speak from personal experience, okay? I'm coming up on 1 year since my dad's been gone. And I'm almost positive that my dad's gone because of the healthcare system. I think his life was cut short and made very uncomfortable due to the healthcare system. And I know that me personally, I have only been injured, made more uncomfortable, and poisoned by the healthcare system. So she's wrong. That's a crazy way of thinking. That's a person who lacks empathy, thinks that way. And it really reminds me of just the Democrat Party in general and this left brain mentality of, they used to have a group, I think they still do. It's called BAM, BAMN, and it's by all means necessary, right? They'll do it by all means necessary. And you keep hearing, this is just a talking point for them. They don't care about this person. They care about the talking point. They see it as a reason to come out and say, see, we need free healthcare. That's what this is about. Just so you know, it's just about free healthcare. It's about them saying, see, we were right about healthcare all along. And you Republicans and you people on the right, you got the healthcare thing wrong. And this is what happens when you don't listen to us on healthcare. Trust me, that's her stance on this. And it's totally crazy. And what else is crazy is, I don't know if you caught it at the end there, but this girl literally said that the guy himself who was taken out, he's responsible for lives being lost. Like, how do you know that? How can you prove that? She can't. But it doesn't matter because the Democrat, the left brain way, and we've heard many Democrats say this, Hillary Clinton, famous for saying it, a bunch of them, they'll come out and say, never let a good crisis go to waste. That's their thing, man. Never let a good crisis, by the way. Who the heck says that? And they don't. They pounce on a crisis and they use it to push their talking points, just like this girl's doing right here. That's all. They just use it as leverage because they like to play on your emotions. They like to make these emotional arguments because they have no real facts. They have no real substance. So they have to tug on your heartstrings. And this is how they do it. And people like Piers Morgan are starting to see through the veil. They're starting to see the truth now. So let's jump right back into it. I hope you got your popcorn ready. Here comes the best part. Roll it.
Why you'd celebrate anybody's murder, especially just an innocent man who you happen to disagree with, is really shocking to me. But it also just goes to show that the left and many on the left have a tendency to believe that violence like this, political violence, is necessary. It's a means to an end. And if they believe in the end and they believe in the means, it's really sick and wrong. If you want to have a conversation about healthcare in this country, that's fine. Let's have that all day long. But to be joyful, or even to say you're not empathetic about somebody losing their life when they leave behind two young boys, especially during the holiday season, the same day that millions of New Yorkers are celebrating a tree lighting. I mean, that's just too far for me, a bridge too far. The loving and tolerant left is at it again, Piers.
Yeah, Taylor, I don't mean to be rude, but why the fuck are you laughing all the time? I don't get it. Sorry,
I'm
apologies for my
laughing
language,
because
but honestly, I find it unbelievable. What are you laughing at?
I am laughing at Tommy's insane mischaracterization of why people are angry. It has nothing to do with Occupy Wall Street. This is a feeling that people feel across the left and the right. You mentioned Ben Shapiro earlier in his video about the healthcare exec. I encourage people to check the comment section on that video, okay? 100% of America is united on this, or rather the majority of America is united on this. We do not think that this healthcare system that is murdering, again, thousands of innocent Americans who, by the way, Tommy, also have families, also have children. These people are being killed by our barbaric and evil for-profit healthcare system. And I agree, we should not necessarily go around shooting people in the street. And while I am joyful that this issue has been brought to attention,
Did you hear that, Piers? Not necessarily.
It's just unbelievable.
They shouldn't be shot in the streets. They shouldn't be shot in the streets because, again, it doesn't solve the systemic problem. You could United Healthcare will just appoint a new ghoulish CEO. The point is that we need to fix these systems so that, again, people like Brian or whoever is in charge of these companies stops murdering tens of thousands of innocent Americans. That is the crime.
Let me bring in Mark on this. I mean, Mark, I'm sorry, but there's just no justification for laughing your way through a segment like this, talking about how joyful you were that this happened. Is there?
Again, I'm not joyful that it happened.
Sorry, Taylor, I'm asking Mark, not you.
Well, then stop.
I heard you. You said it. You may have recanted it, but unfortunately,
no, I'm clarifying it because
unfortunately,
again,
as you know, this show keeps receipts.
All right, guys, we just got to admit it. That was awesome. Cheers to Piers Morgan. I mean, as somebody who's been watching the news for many, many years, far too long, I have to say that was the coolest thing I've ever seen on a news show. That was absolutely awesome. And she deserved it. Because, I mean, listen to her. You know, she's speaking for you, right? She's speaking for me. She's saying 100% or a huge majority of America agrees with, vigilante justice. Hiring someone to take someone else out, a CEO in the healthcare industry because you're mad about healthcare. I mean, look, I'm mad about healthcare too. I can agree with her. It's a broken system. It's run by criminals. It's a big money scam, you know? I agree with those things. But when you're talking to a crazy person, you can only imagine that the ideas and the solutions are also crazy, right? What do they want to do? They want to force doctors to work for free or force you to go to work and steal your money to pay them? I don't know. But it's definitely crazy, and that's the point of this video, is to really pin down the mentality and observe the way these people think. And that's going to bring us to our last very short clip. Piers Morgan is going to be the gentleman that he is and offer her redemption. He's going to lend his platform some more time to her to redeem herself, and watch how this crazy left brain handles it.
Literally,
so you felt joy. You felt
I'm so
joy.
glad that you played that clip because you'll see that I didn't say that I felt joy.
And then she said she misspoke and clarified.
Oh.
And I didn't say that I felt joy.
You don't think, Mark, it was more that she wished she hadn't said she felt joy? Because you suddenly realized how bad it sounded.
Why don't you listen to that clip again? Because I don't say that I feel joy in the man's death. I said I feel joy because, and that's exactly when you cut me off. And if you let me finish, I would say, I feel joy.
Bullshit.
Oh, bullshit, Piers. You don't know what was in your head,
That's not. She's right. She's right, Piers.
Bullshit.
She actually said, I feel joy, and then you interrupted her there. Perhaps, I don't know what she was going to say, but she certainly didn't get a chance to finish.
Well, the viewers can watch the whole thing in the right context.
And you may not realize this, but
we don't censor things here. Mark, I don't know why you're going out of your way to defend her, mate. Because Taylor, let's be honest, you know what you said. You wish you hadn't said it. Let me give Taylor an opportunity. Would you like to apologize for using the word joy?
Again, if you take the word joy completely out of context from the word that I said,
would you like to?
It was because
would you like to apologize? Yes or no? Yes or no?
You just played the clip that showed that
Do you
I
want to
said I feel joy
apologize?
because, and that's right when you cut me off.
Do you
So
want
let
to
me tell you why I
apologize?
feel joy. I feel joy because people like you, who are rich and powerful and on TV and have all the access to all the healthcare privileges in the world, are finally being forced to pay attention to the barbaric healthcare system that murders tens of thousands of innocent Americans. And that is what I feel joy in, that people like you are forced to confront those systemic problems. That's what I'm joyful.
Yeah, I knew it would be my fault as well at some stage.
And there you have it. No remorse, no regret, no guilt, no empathy, right? And this is why yesterday on my video, I said people like this need to be bullied a little bit in high school. And I'll clarify, I did say it yesterday, but I'll say it again. I don't support violence. I don't mean physically, hurting people. I mean like pointing, laughing, just little reminders here and there that, there's always somebody else that may put a stop to your crazy plans and your crazy way of thinking. That's all I meant by it, and this is a clear example. This girl has never had any pushback. She's only been told she's a victim. She's been oppressed. She's owed everything, and everyone should do what she says. Or at least the whole victimization has led her to believe that her way is just and her way is right because she's in this, oppressive country that she needs to change it. That's the way people like this tend to think, and that was the point of the video yesterday and today. Like I said, I wasn't going to do this today, but I saw it, I had to do it, and I just wanted to give props to Piers Morgan. I'm going to have another video out tonight, the one I originally planned. It's going to be a different topic. I hope I catch you over there. Let me know what you think down in the comments, guys. Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Do you think I'm right, or do you think I'm crazy? Should we just let these people be and continue the way we have? Or are you like Piers Morgan? Are you starting to realize maybe these people shouldn't be able to just have unbridled power, and maybe we should start checking them and putting them in their place?